Meeting a genuine spiritual master in an epoch of conflicts and confusion has become the most difficult endeavor in modern-day life. Our external environment conditions our mind to think that spiritual pursuits are not very important, so we feel our success in life should be measured by our material gains rather than by our level of spiritual understanding. Eventually, we become strangers to ourselves, drifting away from authentic happiness and drowning deeper into the sea of desires and egotistic sufferings. In the past, great masters arrived in our world, one after another, to help many spiritual practitioners break free from the habitual cycle of rebirth and death. And now, many great masters are leaving us, one after another, possibly for other realms, dimensions or worlds, where their teachings are more beneficial and where their presence is appreciated. So, precious opportunities slip us by, and we continue to live in a dreamy life of ignorance and self-inflicted agonies. However, some of us are still very fortunate to be able to meet and learn from a handful of these genuine spiritual masters. These uncommon masters are still teaching in our time and are patiently waiting for us to gradually progress towards our spiritual destiny. According to an explanation of holy places written by His Eminence the 8th Kamtrul Rinpoche Dongyu Nyima, the entire universe is primordially sacred by nature. The Buddhas of the past prepared many holy places in this universe to benefit all the sentient beings. Great beings such as Guru Padmasambhava, his 25 disciples, and the 84 Mahasiddhas of India rediscovered some of these holy places and thereby provided opportunities for pilgrims of different ages to receive the essence of blessings from the enlightened ones. Generally, for Buddhists of the Hinayana, Mahayana and Vajrayana traditions, the holy places commemorating the anniversaries of Buddha Shakyamuni's birth, enlightenment, first teaching and parinirvana are known as common pilgrimage sites. By making offerings, prostrating, circumambulating and practicing at these holy sites, one will gain boundless merits. This is stated clearly in the holy texts. When Buddha Shakyamuni gave the teaching of Chakra Samvara to his disciples who were qualified for the Vajrayana or the Tantric path, he transformed the entire universe into holy grounds for the presence of celestial deities, known in Sanskrit as Dakas for male deities and Dakinis for female deities. These holy places are especially located in the northern part of India, historically known as Ngalen Giyu. Some of the 32 holy charnel grounds and the 24 sacred places of Dakas and Dakinis can be found in Jalandhara, Jwalamukhi, Chorpema, Kulu and Manali in the Himalayan part of northern India. Generally, these uncommon holy places are related to the main deity of the Drukpa lineage, Chakra Samvara. Innumerable great masters attained realization by practicing in these uncommon holy places, and they became known as Mahasiddhas, or the Great Ones, who had accomplished great powers. In the past, these Vidyadharas, or the holders of awareness, such as Tilopa and Naropa, always traveled to these places. Not only did they bless these holy lands from afar, they came to walk on these lands and even left some of their body marks behind. Some practitioners who have good karma and pure vision are able to see these sacred signs, but ordinary beings cannot see them. The blessings are still very much alive. If a practitioner visits Jalandhara, Chopema and all these places with devotional faith and correct motivation, it is extremely beneficial to make such a connection for future enlightenment. Quite unexpectedly, His Holiness, the 12th Gyalwang Drukpa, decided to take the volunteers of his publishing arm, International Drukpa Publications, or IDP, for a 4-day uncommon pilgrimage to Kulu, Chopema, and Tashijong. Tashijong is also located in the sacred plains of North India. His Holiness said there were 2 main reasons for this pilgrimage. One was to thank the volunteers of IDP for their contribution to his activities, and the second was to pay homage to some of the 24 sacred places of Dhakas and Dakinis. While the external pilgrimage refers to paying homage to holy sites such as the 8 major Buddhist holy places in India, the 4 Buddhist holy mountains in China, the different stupas and temples, the inner pilgrimage is related to understanding and appreciating the value of pilgrimage. The secret pilgrimage is to realize that these sacred places are inseparable from the inner Buddha or our primordial nature. Until we appreciate the value of pilgrimage and realize the non-dualistic nature of phenomena, we need to depend on external pilgrimage as an encouragement on our spiritual path. This uncommon pilgrimage took place between the 12th and 15th of February 2005, just before the birthday celebration of His Holiness in Kathmandu. We had all been asked to keep the pilgrimage secret, as any leak of this news would have resulted in it being cancelled. Once we began the journey, many of us were relieved, knowing that this pilgrimage was definitely materializing. Unfortunately, a few of the volunteers were unable to attend this rare and privileged pilgrimage, but 17 of us from India, England, France, Taiwan and Malaysia were able to make it. We traveled with His Holiness from New Delhi to Kulu, Mandi and Tashijong, and back to New Delhi. On the way to Mandi, His Holiness suggested that I write an abridged journal of the pilgrimage and the birthday celebration, so that all these moments of happiness and joy could be shared with many of his students and friends who are not included in these gatherings. All of us arrived in New Delhi on the 11th of February 2005 and left for Kulu on the following day at 8 a.m. on a tourist bus, while His Holiness rode in his own car. We stopped at a roadside restaurant or dhaba in Haryana for lunch and had our ears blasted to Punjabi music. The Sikhs are well known for their delicious food and cleanliness. In fact, His Holiness said that Punjabi food was one of the best and cheapest foods in the world, much better than the food served in expensive restaurants and hotels. Shortly after passing Chandigarh, we had tea at another dhaba. This was the place where we witnessed 3 spectacular phenomena appearing almost at the same time: thunder, drizzling rain, and a perfect rainbow. The drizzling kind of rain that we witnessed is called a rain of flowers, in the Tibetan texts. The weather was both sunny and cloudy. His Holiness said that these were very common propitious indications for him. Whenever he was about to perform some beneficial activities, these three phenomena would appear concurrently. Their appearance was also connected to devotion. Even though our devotion was not as great as His Holiness's, we were fortunate to tag along and witness a devotional miracle. Each one of us felt the privilege of being there, reflecting on these precious moments as the Guru shared his wisdom with us. There was continuous lightning until we reached a hotel in Mandi. We were supposed to go all the way to Kulu, but His Holiness told us to make a night stop at the Hotel Valley View in Mandi, which is about 2 hours from Kulu. Someone in the group was asking about the next day's weather, and His Holiness said quite certainly, "It will be hot and it will also be cold." While we all looked rather puzzled and confused, His Holiness jokingly added, "Ha, this is the kind of group leader you get out of me." We left the hotel early next morning at about 6 o'clock. It was still dark and the road was quite deserted. Along the way to Kulu, which was 65 kilometers from the hotel, there were many huge rocks on the road due to the landslides from the night before. No wonder His Holiness had insisted that we stop in Mandi the previous night. We could have been crushed by some of these rocks had we continued our journey to Kulu. Upon arriving in Kulu, His Holiness took us for a short visit to Dechen Chokoleng Monastery in the local town of Bunta. This is the monastery of His Eminence, the 9th Chögyam Rinpoche Chökyi, whose first reincarnation was one of the important masters of the 4th Gyalwang Drukpa Kunchen Pema Karpo. Unfortunately, Chögyam Rinpoche had left for Kampaga Monastery in Tashijong just a few days before, so we were unable to meet him in person. His Holiness took the liberty of showing us around Dechen Chokoleng, and he mentioned that the construction work had progressed very well since his last visit in July 2004, right after the Naropa ceremony in Ladakh. Initially, none of the monks recognized His Holiness, but very soon all of them found out about his presence, and they all rushed to greet him with white scarves and received blessings. We were especially moved by the devotion that Chögyam Rinpoche's elderly mother showed towards His Holiness. When we informed Chögyam Rinpoche's brother that we were going to the holy mountain of Koluta, opposite the monastery, he advised us to take 2 of the monastery's monks along with us. We were also told that it was not a good idea to go on that day due to the heavy snowfall the previous night. But all of us unanimously decided to accept the challenge. A pilgrimage to the sacred mountain of Koluta, the abode of Chakra Samvara and Vijalisvara, or the lightning Dakini, was not without obstacles. In the beginning, we were met by a huge rock blocking the new bridge, connecting the only access road to the mountain. So, His Holiness's car and our bus could not proceed. His Holiness said that whenever he was doing something beneficial, there were bound to be obstacles. But we did not let this minor incident stop us. We all decided to walk past the rock, cross the bridge, and hired 3 jeeps to take us up to the foothills of Koluta. His Holiness had earlier contacted 2 other monks from the local Drukpa monasteries, Lama Paljor and Lama Tashi, to lead the way. They took with them one of their lay friends, Tashi, to help us carry food and drinks. Later on, it was the same Tashi who gave enormous help to one of our volunteers from Malaysia, Dechen Su, while walking up to the top of Kaluta and back down to the foothills. Dechen had been suffering from knee problems. However, this physical ineptness did not stop her from completing this arduous pilgrimage. After about 2 hours of relaxed walking, enjoying the beautiful mountainous scenery and feeling very fortunate to be with a great master and a wonderful group of Dharma friends, we reached the last village, where His Holiness said that we had just entered the border of Chakra Samvara's mandala. This was the place where we left behind Li Huimeng, our volunteer from Taiwan, who could not walk any further due to health problems. His Holiness appointed one of the monks to look after her while we continued our upward walk. Three stray dogs appeared out of nowhere and joined our group. His Holiness said, "You don't need to attract dogs with food or anything. Just be compassionate, loving and kind. Compassion alone can attract dogs." The dogs were happily walking with us and feeling the happiness and good hearts of the pilgrims. We walked through the forest, quite often in the footsteps of our beloved Master. His Holiness stopped regularly to let us rest and catch our breath. Then the path became more slippery and the snow became deeper. Finally, we came out of the forest and were met by a clear blue sky and a hilltop covered completely by snow. We had to walk in the footprints left by our Master and his entourage, who were in front of us. Spontaneous joy arose in an open spaciousness of nature. We walked as brothers and sisters in the footsteps of our Master. A path leading to the mountain peak of Chakra Samvara's quarters. Enlightenment is thus possible for the benefit of others. As one of our volunteers remarked, it is now so easy to understand the meaning of being inseparable with spaciousness.